Today we'll cover topic evolution of plants. Evolution is the change in a species over several generations. So, evolution is a process by which all living organisms are believed to have developed from earlier forms during the history of Earth. Before we start the topic, let us see how does a plant look like. Parts of a plant: root, stem, leaves, flower, and fruit. So, the function of these parts we have covered in the previous chapters. So, how does the water absorbed by roots is transported to other parts of plant? And how does the food produced by leaves is conducted downwards? The answer is vascular system. That includes xylem and phloem. Xylem transports water and phloem conducts food. But millions of years ago, the plants didn't have all these parts. They didn't even look like plants and used to live only in water. So, plant ancestors, millions of years ago, plants used to live only in water. They were simple alga. Eventually, the plants evolved and moved from water to land. So, why did they move on to land? Because they had access to unlimited sunlight and abundant carbon dioxide. So, these are the benefits for the plants to live on land. But plants had to adopt new features so that they can sustain on land. Let us see what were those land adaptations that plants underwent. Land adaptations. First is to retain moisture. The plants grew near water edge and they developed cuticle, which is a waxy coating, which you can see in this picture. Next, they developed stomata. They are the pores that allow gaseous exchange. And this photomicrograph of a leaf surface is showing one of the stomata. So next, what was the other land adaptations? It is the transporting resources, that the vascular system got developed. So vascular system it includes the tissue to transport nutrients. That includes xylem and phloem. So from the roots, that is xylem vessel, it conducts water. We can see in this is a xylem vessel and this is the movement of water and minerals. So this is a phloem vessel and we can see the movement of water and nutrients up and down because the food is manufactured in the leaves and it is conducted to other parts of the plant down from the leaves. Food example, sugars. Now when the xylem and phloem is developed, then it allows the taller growth of the plants. Now the next land adaptations, that the plant has to grow upright. So large plants, they need to support their own weight. They develop root system and shoot system and they developed lignin. Lignin is a material that hardens the cell wall and gives strength to the wood. Next, land adaptations. The need to reproduce. So for reproduction, the plants had spores. Spores, they're carried by wind and also by animals. But the spores don't have any tough covering. So then came the seeds. Seeds have hard coat that protects embryo inside. So seeds are very important because they can stay dormant, inactive for long periods of time and then leap back to life when the conditions are favorable, like when they have sufficient sunlight, moisture and warmth. So the hard coat allows a seed to survive. So finally, first group of plants that made it to land are known as bryophytes. Example is mosses. They used to live near water edges. They have no vascular system. They are the first group of plants that made it to land. Plants eventually evolved to have vascular tissue, that is root stems and leaves, and they were able to grow very tall and grab sunlight for photosynthesis. They are called the pterophytes or seedless vascular plants. They have no seeds but they have spores for reproduction. Example is ferns. So pterophytes have vascular tissue. They are seedless vascular plants and they have spores for reproduction. So one interesting fact that occurred in the period when vascular plants like ferns were there in the ancient forest. Due to weather changes, ferns died. They got covered with layers of soil and rocks and eventually formed coal. This process took millions of years. So the ancient forest of ferns gave us the modern day coal. That's why coal is a fossil fuel. So this is how the ancient forest would have looked like. Dead ferns covered with layers of soil and rock formed coal. Another fact about this period is that the insects grow much larger because the amount of oxygen in the environment was 40%, double than today's. Then came the first seed-bearing plants, gymnosperms. They have vascular system, they have seeds, but seeds were naked. Seeds were not enclosed in a fruit. So gymnosperms were the first seed-bearing plants. Example, conifers such as pines and firs. They did not produce flowers. So gymnosperms are first seed-bearing plant, but seeds are naked, have vascular system. Example is conifers, pines and firs. Finally came angiosperms, that is flowering plants. Her seeds are enclosed within fruit. They are flowering plants. They have flowers that are highly modified leaves whose main function is reproduction. So example is apple plant, tomato plant, capsicum. So here you can see that seeds enclosed within fruit. So let us sum up evolution of plants. So here in this picture we can see that first came the algal ancestors, then non-vascular mosses, then the seedless vascular ferns, then came gymnosperms, then the finally angiosperms. And here we can see that the scale is showing million years ago, like from 0 to 500, and there were different era like Cenozoic, Mesozoic and Paleozoic. The Cenozoic era is from present to 65 million years ago approximate. It was called the age of animals or mammals because largest land animal have been mammals. Then the Mesozoic era is around like 250 to 66 million years ago. It is also called the age of dinosaurs or the age of reptiles. And gymnosperms were the dominant plants. Then the Paleozoic era, it lasted from 500 to 250 million years ago, and it is the time of ancient life. So let us see what all we have learned today. So this is match the following. We have 5 points here and the option here is seed bearing plant, plant ancestor, vascular system, flowering plants, fossil fuel. Let us find out the correct option. So here we go. Seed bearing plants, gymnosperms, plant ancestor, algae, vascular system, xylem and phloem, flowering plants, angiosperm, fossil fuel, coal.